Wow. Welcome back to another episode of Nomadic Devine Strange Love podcast. Yes. So it's really hot today, y'all. It's so hot. I feel the need to keep saying how hot it is. Um, Today, I want to be talking about acting and what I consider to be the basic fundamentals of acting. Um, According to my own life experience. But first, I want to read some scriptures. Let's see. Okay, so if you have your Bibles out, please turn. Let me just say the scripture of the day. I have two. I was trying to pick one. I was trying to choose one, but it was kind of difficult. So I just put two. So the scriptures of the day is John chapter 8, verse 31 and 32. Yes, that's the first. It's the first scripture. John 8. Okay. 8, 31 and 32. Then Jesus went on to say to the Jews who had believed him, "If you remain in my word, you are really my disciples. And if you will know the truth will set you free." So I'm sure some of y'all have heard that scripture, the truth will set you free. But that was Jesus talking to his disciples. And I love that scripture, I think I know I can appreciate it more when, experience certain things in life and then you really understand what that really means. Like, wow, no, the truth can set you free, So anywho, that's the first scripture of the day. The second scripture today is Luke chapter 6. So Luke 6, 27 to 29. Luke. All right. But I say to you who are listening, continue to love your enemies, to do good to those hating you, to bless those cursing you, to pray for those who are insulting you, to him who strikes you on the one cheek after the other also offer the other also. And from him who takes away your outer garment, do not withhold the inner garment either. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really conflicted with this scripture because I believe everything that it states, and I understand how it can work to benefit someone in their life. However, I really believe that certain parts of the scripture may only apply to certain things in your life. Um, when it talks about when it states to continue to love your enemies, there's a way to do that, but it doesn't mean you have to. And this is something that I'm still understanding myself, but it doesn't mean you have to be all lovey-dovey with someone that hates you or someone that's disrespecting you or someone that's mean to you. But what it means is if they do speak to you, now that's your opportunity to be as loving as possible in that moment. And before I'm not gonna lie, like me really trying to master loving my enemy. Because before No, once you make yourself my enemy, you are that, and I don't care how you feel when I say something about you. I don't care. But that's not loving your enemy, right? So I tried to master this scripture, but I think I kind of took it too far. I kind of took it too far, meaning like, uh, being nice to someone disrespecting me or subjecting myself to disrespect. And I had to understand, like, wait a minute, that's not what that means. Because then there's other scriptures that states that God doesn't want us to be a fool. He doesn't want he don't want us to be a fool. He wants us to be wise. So it's like you got to kind of discern really what situations, how to love enemy, and I got the understanding like, oh, it's only in those moments when you have no choice but to interact. Maybe someone's saying something to you and now you have to respond and show how Christ-like you are because you're responding. That's what makes sense the most to me. But doesn't mean you have to subject yourself to anybody that's being disrespectful. Okay, so I wanted to put that out there because I think sometimes people have it twisted because, hey, maybe I even was like, damn, you want me to love my enemies? That's kind of difficult. Why do I want to love somebody that hate me? But it's easier once you really understand. It's like only in those moments. And let me say this. You might not want to talk too bad about them when they're not around and mention too many names because that's contrary of what loving your enemy is, right? If you're talking bad about them and you're mentioning their name, if you're speaking in general, then that's different because we can do that and it shouldn't be a problem. Um, but yeah, mentioning names and talking bad about someone, that's not loving your enemy. So you don't want to do that either. But these scriptures, I felt the need to really mention these as the scriptures of the day because it has a lot to do with acting. My personal belief, it has a lot to do with acting. I want to get into that a little bit more, but first I want to read the actual definition of acting that I looked up, and it stated that acting is the art or occupation of performing in plays, movies, or television productions. Uh, Another definition is to take action. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The definition of act. So that was acting. The definition of act is to take action, do something, or believe in the way that it's specified. Like behave in the way specified. Um, Take effect, have a particular effect, perform a fictional role in a play, movie, or television production. So there's more than one definition of act, um, but it kind of all goes with each other in a way, if you really think about it. So, have you ever acted so much as if your life depended on it? Maybe you were afraid of something or someone, and you had to pretend you weren't afraid to escape that person's wrath. Um, to pretend is either to be something you're not or to feel something you don't. And, I truly believe that we've all been there at some point or time in our life. So when we're talking about pretending, it doesn't, and I'm not even saying a con artist, that's that's like taking it too far. That's like you're pretending to really truly be someone else and you're not really that person. I'm just saying sometimes when you might have some moments in your life and then you just have those moments, but it's not really who you are as a person. So I just want you to ask okay, so I want you to ask some of these questions. Ask yourself some of these questions before you consider acting. And this could be in your, I'm not even talking about going to school or theater. Some people don't have that luxury. Maybe they don't have that time. Sometimes it's a time issue, right? So it could be in your personal life. So I want you to think about these questions. Like, first question: have you ever pretended to be brave when you were really afraid? Have you ever pretended to be afraid when you were really brave? That's kind of weird. Um, have you ever pretended to be upset when you really weren't? Like, why would you do that? I'm trying to understand. Uh, have you ever pretended to not care about something when you really did? I think oftentimes people do that one. Uh, can you pretend to be happy when your life is falling apart? Oh yeah, we. I think we do that too sometimes. Well, great news. If you answer yes to any of those questions, it means you have the ability to be a good actor. That's my opinion. Because it's really about pretending to feel something, like I said, to feel something you don't or to be someone you're not. So if you get offered a role, now you have to envision yourself in that character and to be that character. You're pretending to be that character. And I think if you have some experience in your own personal life, it could probably help with the process. I really believe that. Um, Now that was kind of the introduction to my my thoughts on acting. Is it's really pretending. It's pretending. Now, I did want to look at someone that, I searched Google, and I clicked on the first website that I was compelled to do. If I would have read information on that site and felt like, you know what, this don't really make no sense to me, I probably would have went on a different website. But it so happened to be that the information that I read actually did make a lot of sense to me. So I took some notes on it. And this, based off of what I read, it definitely sounds like this person, I believe she's a acting director. She probably does other things in her life. I'm sorry, a casting director. That's what I wrote down. Casting director. Um, but based off of what I read, it sounds like she has a lot of experience in what she does professionally. And I do like to learn from the professionals too, because I think that's how you become even greater at, whatever you're trying to master is pay attention to the ones who know what they're doing, right? Um, so I wrote down a lot. I don't really it's a lot. I really don't want to read everything word from word, but I'll try to summarize what I took note of. So she mentioned her name is Bonnie Gillis Gillespie. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. Gillespie. Bonnie, and I guess that's her last name. It's different. But that's the source that I used is Bonnie Gillespie.com. And she mentioned the three C's of acting, which is character, choice, and commitment. And yeah, I mean, that was really helpful even for me because I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. It's like some of it's kind of common sense, but some of it you probably might not even think of until you hear someone else say it. And it's like, oh, okay, they're making a valid point. I should listen to this person. Um, so, and what I want to mention, and like I said, I got this from her site, but character, it's good, and I agree with this. It's good to choose an ideal headshot that you believe may fit the role of the character you are trying to portray. And I like how she mentioned, like, okay, if you have a good mugshot, it probably wouldn't make sense to use it as a. I'm trying to remember exactly what she said because I don't think I wrote this part down. Oh, there we go. It probably wouldn't make no sense to use a great scumbag headshot. I said mugshot, but a a scumbag headshot for the role or character of a princess. And that's actually a good point because you might just take a picture and think, "Oh, this is fine," and then submit that headshot for a certain role for a character that looks like a villain, and you look like a princess. Let's say you look like a princess and you look all sweet and innocent in your headshot, and you're submitting it for the role of a villain. I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even think of that. Like, oh wow, that's actually helpful to know because you could be, maybe you're like really like smiling a lot and just you got that innocent twinkle, you got that innocent look in your eye. They probably don't. They want to see if you can look like a villain. So it'd probably be best if you want to play the role of a villain. You may want to have a serious look on your face. You know, you may want to have a real serious look in your face in your headshot, and just take different photos of it. Probably it is probably best to have more than one headshot if you're submitting different roles for different characters, because at least they can see it. Like, oh wow, I like that look in her headshot. Maybe she can really pull this off, y'all. At least it'll give them an idea that you might be capable of doing what they need. And so I'm glad that she mentioned that because I'm like, wow, because I in my past I believe I had like maybe two headshots and didn't think of that because I didn't think to look to hear someone else's, like a professional's advice, or maybe I just thought, hey, let me just take a picture and that's fine. But she, it seems like she really wants people to see. Some people in life want you to fail, and some people want you to succeed and want you to win. And the fact that I found almost all of the information that I read helpful, I felt like she was one of those people that really trying to help you. Because why would she put all this helpful information in here like this? Because that definitely will. I believe it would make your chances of getting cast for that audition. You want to get that role. It'll make your chances greater if you have more than one headshot, and at least you can. Not saying you're going to get that role that you audition for, but at least you have a greater chance because you are like trying your best to do anything possible that will greater your chances, if that makes sense. And I didn't think about that before. So it's like, it was very helpful. So that's character. So when you think of character, think of choosing a great headshot for that character you are trying to audition for. Um, the second C is choice, making choices and acting. Um, and I had to reread this probably 5 times because I was like, what the hell is she talking about? I was kind of confused, like, what? Making a choice. But then I kind of understood a little bit better, like, okay, when you make that choice, like, you have to be aware of, like, basically be aware of how you're acting. Like, if you're talking with a, like I said, I don't want to read all this word from word, but like, if you're talking with a proper educational accent and you sound like you went to school, but you're supposed to be playing this thug or this person in the ghetto that doesn't have that much experience and speaks slang, but you're talking proper, that's probably not making the best choice with the character. And that made a lot of sense to me. Like, okay, you gotta have to change the whole way. You gotta make that choice of changing your whole way of speaking. And I think maybe some people probably don't even realize that they're doing it if they are auditioning for someone that's supposed to be a hood gangster, or just a hood type of character speaking slang. Um, that was a good that was a good point. That was a good point to make. uh be specific, be confident, and show them how you see the character. When it's done right, they might not even notice that you've made choices at all. See, it's just about doing it right. Like you got to do it right. You got to really like pay attention. Like, wait, how am I sounding right now? Let me do that again. And I think really practicing at home is actually probably the best thing a person can do before they even start going to auditions and stuff. Because in that way, you know, you master whatever your role you're trying to audition for. At least you're trying. I think that's at least trying. What they'll see is a character coming to life right in front of them. That's what you want, right? And that, yeah, that's what you want. You want them to see the character come into life. If you made choices that came together in such a way to make a, and these are, I'm quoting her words. If you made choices that came together in such a way as to make us believe we were seeing that character go from the page to the living and breathing, you did your job well. And so I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was so grateful that I found this page, and it's funny that it was really the first one that I so happened to click on. Um, but yes, that's how I already be feeling like, and I'm not a casting director or anything, but I be feeling that way. It's like, dang, like even when I watch movies and I see stuff, if it's not believable, and there's tons of movies out, there's so many movies out there or shows with a bunch of actors and they just are not believable. It's just I'll be watching it and I'm just like, oh my. Sometimes it's kind of difficult to watch. I'll be wanting to do this. Oh my god, so hard to watch. And sometimes I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'll be feeling in my head. I'll be feeling like I can do this way better than how they doing it. And now, if you ever feel that way when you're watching something and you feel like you can do it way better than them, you probably need to. That's not a good thing. That's not, and I'm saying it's a good thing for you, but it's not a good thing for whoever's acting in that movie. I don't think they want the audience to feel like, wow, oh my God, I could have did it way better. And I be feeling like that sometimes when I see stuff. I be like, oh my God, I could have did it way better than that. That's not even believable. Whoa. So I be like, I'm like when I read that, make us a believe. That's really what it's about. People want to believe it, like make it so real to where, damn, I'm over here crying because I just watched something and I felt, whoa, it was so, that scene was so emotional. But then I have to remind myself, this is just a movie, Destiny. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not even real. But sometimes some actors are that damn good, even with the actors that are like jerks or assholes. Sometimes they'll make you not really like them. Like you'll watch a movie, and when I say you'll, I'm talking about me. I watch a movie, and it's like for the mean character, the person that's really mean or supposed to be an asshole or the B word, and I'll really be like looking at them like, "Ooh, I don't like you," and then I have to remind myself it's just a movie. They're probably not even like that in real life. Like, chill out. So, but that's a good thing. If I don't like you and you're just performing, that means you really did your job if you made me not like you and you're really just acting. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I agree with that. So choice is about, the way I took it is choices about making it believable. That's what I got from what I read off her site. The last C is commitment. Commitment. And I want, you know what, I want to read some of this. So commitment relates not only to your individual auditions, but to your career as a whole. You're either in or you're out. Um, Lacking confidence before you even start can be an easy way to fall and may be seen as if you didn't fully commit. Acting directors love seeing and watching actors come in, commit, approach the jump, and nail it. They don't love watching actors try. Your confidence is an important element to success, and people love to back winners. Um, Now, here's a quote from someone by the name of a screenwriter, Josh Friedman. If you're going to do it right. Don't creep up right close to it. Think about doing it, and then back off just a little bit and try to convince yourself you're still doing it. You're not. It's binary. You either have faith or you don't. You're either doing it or you're not. Confidence is a big part of commitment. So is charisma. Acting has been compared acting has been compared to dating. Casting directors don't uh they don't like the desperate candidates. Okay. And they find themselves attracted to the people that they want to spend time with. Commit to your choices and you will eventually build confidence in your performances. And then I put in parentheses, auditions are just short performances. And that, I mean, that's a good way to look at it. Instead of, oh, gotta go to this audition. I mean, when that was a good point though. When you really are confident and you got a performance, yeah, you have to look at that audition like it's a short performance. It's you're about to go in and perform for someone. So you have to be confident. Um, I like how he I like how he stated you either have faith or you don't. And faith is all about believing, you know? So commitment is about having confidence. And so I'll tell you, uh, if you don't know what you're doing, you're probably not going to have confidence in what you're doing. This is a lot of helpful information that I want to share with you, and it's helpful for me because I was like, wow, three C's. This is some interesting stuff. Like, let me, because it didn't seem like it was too much. Like, it didn't, when I say too much, it was just it's three words that, you know, it's just three words that really make a lot of sense. You know the character and what headshot you should submit for that character and know who your character is. Study your character, become the character, and think about the headshot that you're taking for that character. Like it's a big deal. Like I said before, I didn't think it was a big deal, but it really is. Choice, believe what you're doing, make it believable. Make it believable, because if other people don't think it's believable, why would they want to cast you? Because like I said, who really wants to have an audience sitting there thinking that they can do better than the actors in there? I don't think nobody wants to have that type of audience. And commitment, just be dedicated. Like practice, this is what I say when it comes to my music. Practice makes perfect. And me, I'm not a professional actor. I'm not. However, I do know how to sing, and I know how to rap, and I know how to write. You know why? Because I've been practicing at it for, to me, 15, 20 years. That's a long time. I've been doing it for a while. I've been doing it, let's just say I've been doing it long enough to know what I'm doing, to be confident, to be so confident enough to feel like I'm the best in the room. Not on the arrogant thing, because I'm far from arrogant, but I'm that confident. And I think practicing has a lot to do with it. But when I sit here and tell you, when it comes like pertaining to acting, I don't, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't have that same confidence with acting. I don't, because I don't have the same practice. I have not made that commitment, you know? And I'm glad I read that because I was like, you know what? Because I was thinking about wanting to get into acting, but and it wasn't just her website, but the website did help because I'm like, it made me. And there was another, and I'll go into this too, but there was something else that happened recently that really made me think that right now maybe I'm not ready to be an actor, and but commitment has a lot to do with it. It's like how much are you willing to practice on your craft as being an actor? You can do it at home. You can do it there's ways to do it. And so what I did, I guess my way of wanting to become a better actor is I decided to write my own films, like scripts. Let me say script because technically it's not a film until it's a film, right? But I'll say script because I'm like, that's what I told myself, like, how do I practice acting at home? How do you do that? And I'm like, well, maybe if I had a script, I can practice the script. And I'm like, well, what script am I going to use? And I'm like, oh, well, hey, I can write my own script because I am a writer, duh. And that I think that, I really believe that was the whole point of me even writing scripts is to practice my acting skills. That was the whole point of even writing that script because I wrote more than one. So I have started the beginning stages of me wanting to practice and master acting at home. So when I actually finally do go to auditions, I'll have that confidence. What's the first C? The first C is character choice, but the confidence is in choice. Okay, and I don't have that right now because I need to practice, right? I mean, now for the character, it's easy for me. Like even though I don't like taking pictures, it is easy for me to take different, multiple pictures. And recently I took one, and I'm not gonna lie, I looked in the picture, and I'm a Christian, I'm a good woman, I'm a trustworthy, honest, good person. However, in some of those photos, and I looked and I was like, damn, I really look like a villain in that one and that one. Like in so many of them, maybe it's the contacts I'm wearing, who knows? But I had this fierce villain type of look. And I saw some Susie Bake housewife, good type of woman photos with a half smile. That was nice or whatever. But it was the villain. It was the villain photos that kind of like shocked me. Like, whoa, it looks like I can really play a good villain based off that picture. That's what I thought, just looking at the picture. So I know I'm capable of taking good pictures, even though I don't like to. I don't want to. I don't like to. But the confidence isn't there. So, and I'm sharing this with you so you know if you have that issue, just know, hey, you might be good at some things, but when you look at the other things like confidence and wanting to commit and practice or whatever, now let's work on those things too. Because I really believe, hey, this is coming from a casting director, not another actor. I'm definitely gonna, if it makes sense to me, like, okay, what I say is, if it don't make sense to me, whatever it is in life, it did. If I get to the point where I'm sitting there and I'm meditating and I'm like, this just don't make no sense to me, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna walk away from it eventually. I'm not gonna do it. Even if my passion is to be an actress, if it just doesn't make sense to me, I don't care. I'm just gonna walk away from it. I'm not gonna do it. You know, but this information made a lot of sense to me, and it made a lot of sense that it was coming from a casting director. Those are the people that you really should be taking advice from, not another. I mean, I don't want to say not another actor because I have received great advice from other actors just by basically watching interviews and watch interviews on YouTube. So there's a way to receive great advice from other actors too. However, I think it's just it's just even better. It's like the cherry on top. It's even better when you get it from a casting directors because those are the ones that going to cast you, you know. So I just thought that made more sense. That made a lot of sense to me. So, anywho, remember the three C's, and I want to repeat it again because I believe in it. If I didn't believe in it, trust me, I would not have taken the time out to make all these notes and quote word from word. I would not have done that. So, character, choice, and commitment. Um, I'm gonna probably edit this live video and type in. I want to put her name because the last name is kind of difficult for me to pronounce. Bonnie, that's easy for me to pronounce, but I want to put that source in the info this description just in case you want to check out her website or look her up because that's where I got that information of the three C's that's where I got that information from. So I do want to put her name in there in the description when I'm done with this live video, just so you guys can check her out if you're interested. So moving on. I want to ask you something. Are you believable when you lie? Are you believable when you lie and when you're dishonest? And so now I'm asking you these questions because now I'm kind of moving away from the professional advice. That was the professional advice, and that was really great. Really like that. But now we're going into just my thoughts. This is my thoughts on real life, real experiences that you might encounter every day that you probably won't even realize it could be a great moment for acting. You probably won't even realize it. Okay, so going into it, have you ever lied to someone? If you said no, that's a lie. Children lie often when they are afraid or worried about getting in trouble when they have done something wrong. Adults often do the same thing, but not everyone is a liar. That's not what I'm saying. Well, maybe they are. No, but seriously, not every there are really some trustworthy people. I'm an honest, trustworthy person. However, we all have a past. We all have a past. A person, and I want to make this quick, a person can master anything they practice. And if you don't want to be a liar no more, like a little kid, really lying is about not having courage. That's really the way I see it. Sometimes it could be about a person not having courage to be honest with themselves or the truth. And they're not confident enough to say what it really is. So they lie. And children do that often. Okay. But it's possible you can become perfect. And when I say perfect, you can be so perfect with the truth and master the truth that whatever your younger self did, it doesn't know to God, it no longer matters. It doesn't mean anything. He's not sitting there counting off all the times you lied. Once he sees that you're trying to be a different person, he doesn't hold none of that against you. That's not how God works. Once he really can believe that you are different, he can see it. It's like erased. It's kind of like erased from his memory. But if he see you doing the same stuff, then no, it's not erased. It's still there, right? So I wanted to make that clear because that's not what I'm not saying you have to be a liar to be a great actor. That's not what I'm saying because you can really be a trustworthy, honest person, okay? But I think the real question is how good can you lie about something to make someone believe you? Like, just know that in those sick, lying, twisted moments, you are acting and doing a great job at it too. Are you a cheater? You can lie to me and tell me you're not, but you know what you are. If you cheating on your woman and she believes you when you say you are just out with your boys being loyal, This means you may be a great narcissistic actor without even realizing it. Now, I'm not, like I said before, I'm not saying you have to be a liar to become a great actor. However, if you have the experience of lying, use it to your advantage. Okay. And oftentimes, things in life today are all about image. People want to present a perfect image to the world and never admit no wrongdoing they've had in their past. To me, that's so fake. Because hey, look, if Jesus had a past, and he did, people don't talk about it. You know why? Because I don't think they even know about it, or they don't understand, but I do. But even Jesus had a past. Moses had a past. Okay? But if you're honest and say, I had a past, but I'm no longer like that, or I don't no longer do whatever, I think people would believe you more and respect you more when you're honest. But when you try to play this role like you're just always been perfect since a baby, that's impossible. Nobody on this earth has ever been perfect since a baby. Never, ever, never, ever, ever. Okay? So what I'm saying is own up to your lying past, you little liars. And this applies to me too. I think it's funny, but I'm serious at the same time. Like, hey, use your past to your advantage. Are you a hoe or a prostitute and you try your best to hide it from your man? Like, seriously. Like, and you also pretend to only work in the office during day hours doing clerical work, but you fail to mention that you are a hoe. Wow. How do you keep that up? Choosing to omit certain information to your man or your partner, such as this, makes you a liar, liar, pants on fire. No, not pants on fire, but seriously, if your man is crazy, he might light your pants on fire. If he believes you, it's because he loves you and you're a great actor. You're a great actor. Okay. So this is not just for men being cheaters. This could be for a woman being a prostitute or a hoe, and she making herself really look like she just really a good woman. And when her man he come home to question her, he might know that she's lying. He really might know. Or maybe he don't know and she's just really pretending, you know. But in those moments, and this is for the people that want to be actors and they want to master their craft. Think about those moments that you've had, ladies, where you lied to your man and you was really somewhere else. Think about how good you pretended in those moments. Did you make him believe you? Did he believe you? If he's really dumb, he probably did believe you. Like if he's really stupid and he don't know that you're doing something else, he probably really did believe you. And if that is the case, you might be capable of being a great actor. And I'm being really serious right now. This is not me saying keep being a hoe, keep lying to your man, and keep prostituting. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not encouraging any woman to be a prostitute, because you should not do that, because God don't like that. You need to respect your body more and only give it to your man that you claim you love, okay? I want to make that clear. However, I just want you to remember those lying, sick, twisted moments that you had. Remember those moments, because it might help you the next time you try to go on an audition. And guess what? If you are already an actor and you've gone on auditions, maybe it has helped you. Who knows? But I'm just throwing this information out there just to give you something to think about, to help you out and to help me out. All right. So next subheading is who hurt you? Seriously, who hurt you? Because you look really mad and mean. Usually the meanest people, when I say the meanest, I'm not saying you are a mean person. I'm saying I've met some people that they have this look like their eyebrows are all crunched up. They look really fierce in the eyes, and they just look mean as hell. But oftentimes, I don't judge those people. It's sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes it's those people I want to get close to because I know somebody probably hurt them so much to where now they have that look. And there's times when people have accused me of being mean without even personally knowing me and be like, once they get to know me, they're like, "Oh my God, I thought you were so mean." And I'm like, "Why?" Because my eyebrows were crunched up. Like, you don't even I don't even know you. Why would you think what? Why would you think I'm mean? How would you know that without really getting to know me? But oftentimes people judge a person's face, facial expressions, their body gestures. They judge it. And I try not to judge it. I just be like, okay, wow, he looks mean, but you know what? He probably isn't mean because people have told me that. So maybe he might be a good person. Let me go on. And I'm not gonna lie, there recently I saw someone that just looked mean. And then when I approached him just saying hi, it's like this person's face, I noticed that this person, their whole face kind of softened up. Like kind of looked like a sign of relief, like, you know, that whole mean face they had just kind of went away once I said hi, like hello, and I just kept walking. And I saw their face change, and I'm like, see, I knew they weren't a bad person or a mean person. I don't know them personally, but sometimes all you got to do is just say hi, and then you'll see them kind of let their guard down a little bit because you know what I mean. But if you don't do that, they'll probably have. I mean, it's like I think it's a form of protection. It's like you kind of got to be like that out here in LA and Los Angeles because people are for the people that really are mean. It's like you got to protect yourself from the people that really are mean. So don't judge someone because they look mean because they can really be nice. And sometimes the people that look too nice are really the cold-hearted, mean people. That's the crazy part about it. You probably ain't gonna see me walking around town with a big old smile on my face, but I'm probably like one of the nicest people you'll ever meet if you actually take the chance to get to know me. So just think about that. However, anyways, look, reason why I mentioned who hurt you is because I really believe that a person's heartbreak can make them a good actor. I've seen some great actors. I mentioned Angela Bassett before. Jada Pinkett is another good actor. There's many, many, many more, but those two, Jada Pinkett Smith, Angela Bassett. Um, there's so many. Vivica Fox, and maybe I'm thinking of the movie Set It Off, but I've seen these ladies in so many other different movies where they have so much emotion in in the movie. And sometimes I can look at a person and be like, wow, they probably went through a lot of stuff in their life. Just based off of just looking at how good they can act emotionally. And it's so believable. And that those three women, Jada, Vivica, and Angela, it's so damn believable to where I know, wow, somebody really must have hurt them so much that they brought it to the stage and did a good job. Because I believe you. Really be like, whoo, feeling like I know this person and I know their pain based off of how good they performed that role. And so I really believe that, and I would not be surprised if I saw an interview with some of these, or I looked up an interview about them having someone hurt them this kind of way, or and them sharing their personal life experiences. I wouldn't be surprised because I already can see it in their acting. I can see it. It's too believable. It's so believable to where it's like, okay, you can't go to school for that. Like, How do you go to school for that? It's just some things are natural and some things aren't. And I think natural is probably the best way to go. Anywho, here's some disadvantages for new actors. Okay, so nervousness, let's say you too damn nervous. That is gonna get in your way. You being too nervous. Let's say intimidation, you're too intimidated by the ones that have already come before you. I just named some of the good professional women that I've looked up to, like, damn, whoa. And there's many, and I did see there's many more actors. I watched this movie. I'm sure y'all know that movie with damn, True Lies with Jamie Lee Curtis and Arnold Schwarzenegger. I had to rewatch it. I kept seeing posts of Jamie Lee Curtis in this new movie Freakier Friday that I still want to see, but I just haven't got around to it yet because I seen the first one, and it made me think of the True Lies because I haven't seen all her movies, but I know that True Lies was a movie I seen so many times in my past, and I wanted to rewatch it. She's a great actor too. She did really good in that movie, and she just made it believable. And I wanted to mention her name too because I mentioned some African American women, but I wanted to mention a Caucasian woman that, like, damn, you made me believe. Whoa, you did your thing. But like I said, if I had to write on a list of all the great it'll probably be so many pages. But she's a great one. But the reason why I mention her right now is, like, okay, let's say you are let's say you are intimidated by the great actors that have come before you. That's going to get in your way. Just sitting there meditating on, oh my God, they have all this experience. Oh my God, they've been in these big movies. Look at me. I don't have that same experience. Is anybody going to cast me? Don't think like that because they had to start from somewhere. You know, don't be intimidated. Just know that you can be just as good, maybe even better. But you study, and I was just about to get to the next subheading, which is study the great. But I want to finish listing the disadvantages for new actors. So, no experience in acting, no real life struggle experience. Oh, it's not good. Not practicing at home, so you're not practicing your craft. That's a disadvantage for you too. Let's say you work a full-time job like I do. Ooh, it's going to be very difficult going on auditions when you already have a full-time job. Because if you really want to be casted for a role, you kind of, you have to commit yourself fully to that. You're going to need more time to go on. As if they say come in on a Tuesday, come in at Tuesday at 3, and you going to be at work. How's that going to work? You need that kind of time. Okay, anyways, I was just thinking of something. Let's say you have children. That might be a disadvantage. Who's going to watch your kids? Now you need somebody to watch your kids so you can go on an audition. Damn, what you going to do now? That can really be a disadvantage for new actors. I really believe that whatever is meant for you, though, in your life will happen if it's meant for you. So that's a good way to look at it. Don't kill yourself don't try to kill yourself trying to be an actor, or don't quit your job because you still got to pay your rent. You still got to pay your bills. Why would you? That's not a good idea. However, maybe a miracle might happen in your life, and then somehow you get more time and you're still able to pay your bills, and you can go on auditions. That's a miracle. If you have, and guess what? These disadvantages that I listed some of them apply to, a lot of them apply to me. The only ones that probably don't apply to me is no real life struggle experience. I have a lot of real life struggle experience. I have that a lot. Uh, Full-time job, children. I mean, I have a lot of disadvantages, and so that's the thing. And I think the nervousness and intimidation, that's probably there because you haven't practiced it enough to be confident, to be, I think that's with anything. You might be more nervous or intimidated by other people when you haven't come to the point to know how good you are. So that goes away once you are confident and you practiced enough to know, hey, I'm actually good at this. So those things can go away. Study the great. Study and watch some of your favorite actors. Watch some movies, watch interviews, and listen to any advice given. Hopefully, it's good advice. Take some photos showing different emotion. Like I mentioned earlier, maybe you can make a serious, fierce look, and it might look like a villain, or have a soft, innocent, cute smile and look like a princess, or a good real housewife or some type of thing. Find a mentor and make your own film or script and try acting with that script. So those are some tips on studying the great. That's how you study the great. Yeah. That's how you study the great. Now, this is part two. I'm gonna I want to talk about my experience pertaining to certain moments, that I found in my life, looking back and reflecting on my life, that I felt like these moments could have been great moments for acting. At that time, I didn't think I even realized what I was doing. I don't think I even realized what I was doing at that time. But me looking back, I'm like, damn, you was acting. You didn't even realize it. And I think we may have all done this at some point. So, okay. Ooh. Okay, so what am I gonna say? Relationships. I want to talk about relationships and how, if you ever noticed, right, I haven't been in a relationship in a while, and I'm actually glad because I've been working on myself. And I know the next time I do get in a relationship, I'll probably be I know I'll be the best version of myself with that new person, trying to offer the best version of myself. So it's good to be alone so you can better yourself for when you are really ready to be with somebody. Um, However, these experiences I want to mention pertaining to relationships have been very destructive and tragic, detrimental, toxic, and just very unfortunate. And yeah, not too many blessings that I would say have I felt came out of these relationships at that time. But me looking back, of course, I know it didn't work out because we are meant to be who we're meant to be with. And if any relationship doesn't work out, it's because you were not meant to be with that person. That's what I really believe. If he's an ex, you rekindle with an ex. I mean, y'all just probably wasn't ever really meant to be with each other. If you have to really fight so hard, you shouldn't have to fight that damn hard to be with. If it's real, it's real. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm saying this, you might be thinking, what the hell does relationships have to do with acting? It has a lot to do with acting. Um, there's a time in my life where I was really sick. And when I say sick, I'm not talking about coughing sick. I'm not talking about like hospital sick. I'm talking about mentally sick. And I believe, do you know what cancer is? Like, do you know what cancer is? Like, I've heard about cancer. I've heard about people having it. Then I know, to my understanding, when they do the chemo treatment, they lose their hair. Their hair, now they don't have their hair because supposedly the chemo is supposed to help with the whole process of cancer, right? And so there's something going on within that person inside their body that's cancerous and it needs to be removed. It could be a tumor, whatever it is, it needs to be removed. And somehow, I guess, I'm not gonna lie, the removing of the hair, the chemo, that never made no sense to me. It never made no sense of why you gotta lose your hair to get something, for them to get rid of something inside your body. That just never made no sense to me. But that's what they do. Um, why am I talking about cancer? Well, cancer, like I said, something that makes a person so sick to where they're worried about dying and it needs to be removed from their body. You know what is another cancer? Lyme is a cancer. And this is what I really believe. At that time, I didn't believe it. But me being a teenager, come on, teenagers do not make the best decisions, people. How could they? Teenagers think they know everything. And some might be smarter than others, because I really believe that I was a teenager smarter than other teenagers. However, I don't think none of us make the best decisions when we're a teenager. Um, but I believe that I had a cancer when I was a teenager, and it was festering so much inside of me, and it was that cancer called lying. And it was only usually pertaining to relationships. I'm not going to say only, but it seemed like when I would look back, I would think of the times I was in a relationship with someone. And so that became a cancer to me. It made me mentally sick because, I was on a quest for attention. And I don't want to go into too much detail, but I have kids, and my kids are I love them so much. They're like a extension of me. They're a part of me. And some of my kids, I see similarities, like, oh snap, like they would do certain things that I did as a kid or as a teenager, and they have that acting quality. It's like a natural thing, like, okay, it's like a pretending. You want to pretend to get attention, and that happens sometimes in relationships with certain people. It's like pretending to get attention because you know damn well the person you're with don't really care about you. Think about it. Like, if he really cared about you, why would you be sitting there trying to pretend about anything? Like, okay, and I'm trying to think of an example, but you know, you got to make him feel sorry for you because you need him. And you have to pretend, you have to play this role of some victimized, and you really might be a victim, and you probably don't even realize what you're doing, but you're playing this role of a victim that is really sick and, oh, help me, I need That's pretending to get that attention from that guy that really don't even care about you. But that has happened several times, and so me looking back, I could sit here and think of those moments like, wow, that's really all what acting is about. It's like you playing that role. And I mean, I could laugh about it now because I'm not like that now. I'm way more mature. I'm not a teenager. I'm way more mature to and confident to fit. Like I said, I'm confident to know like I shouldn't have to pretend to be like my mama in jail so you can come to my rescue and be here for me. I shouldn't have to do that, because if I have to go that far, that means you're not the right person for me. I have to do all that just to get your attention. A real man that is good for me, I shouldn't have to do that. I could just be myself to get your attention because I'm just that damn good of a woman and that interesting that I already have your attention, you know. But this oftentimes happens in relationships where we might be on a quest for attention. And now we're either pretending to be sick or we're pretending that our mama's in jail. And hey, mate, and the funny thing about this is looking back, a lot of it, there's a lot of truth to it. That's why it's really funny because even I've never, like I said, technically didn't have no cancerous tumor in me, never had cancer, right? But in a way, I kind of did have cancer because lying is a sickness. As a child or as a teenager, if you feel like you got to do that to get a man's attention, that's a sickness, you know. So in a way, it's funny because like it wasn't no literal tumor, but like I said, in a way, it really is like a cancer. It's a sickness. So in a way, it was a lot of truth to it without me realizing it was a lot of truth to it. I know when I was 16, because that was when I was 16. That probably was one of the most times as a teenager that I've done that and having my little acting moments. And at that time, I didn't look at it like I'm acting. No, but me looking back, it's like, really, you did that? Wow. I can think of several moments in that relationship of me being 16 and when I did that, just simply for attention, because I knew I wasn't getting my needs met. I was not getting my needs met by that person, so I felt like I had to do that. And I'm sure you might have similar experiences, when it comes to that. So just something to think about when you want to really step outside the box, and now you're mature enough. You're not like that, right? But let's say you're mature enough to where you want to master your acting skills. Think of all the dumb things you've done in your past relationships. You might be ashamed to talk me out. I'm not ashamed to talk about it because I'm no longer like that. That's why I don't really care. Like, I mean, I care, but I don't care. You get what I'm saying? I'm not ashamed because I'm not about that life no more, and I've evolved so much to where I can, yeah, I'm comfortable enough to talk about my stupid choices of pretending. Like I said, I was 16. So what do you expect from a 16-year-old, anyways? Now, the funny thing is, so that was 2007, but I want to take it back to 2003 auditions. So now I want to take it back 4 years prior to 2007 to 2003. I lived in I lived in Michigan. I told y'all I grew up in Detroit. So somehow, some way, whatever the reason is, my mom felt like it was important to move us out here to California. And at that time, I hate to say it, but I did not want to leave Detroit. Like, I think I was so accustomed to the struggle. It may sound so stupid and weird, but it's the truth. seeing abandoned buildings, boarded up buildings, just the streets looking all jacked up, and niggas standing outside on their steps, just seeing a nigga stand outside on their steps, I felt like I was at home. Like, I felt like this is my home. Like, you know what I mean? And I got accustomed and mentally trained. I don't want to say brainwashed, but maybe, mentally accustomed to what I was used to, which was boarded up buildings and it just that kind of lifestyle. And so the thought of moving to somewhere nice like California, not saying that there's not bad parts in California, but the whole idea of California, you think you're going to some kind of paradise. I didn't like that. I didn't like the thought of moving into a nice area with I felt intimidated by it. I felt like, hold up, nah. I want to see the niggas stand out on a porch because then I feel like I'm at home because I see people, you know what I'm saying? It's just so weird. And so, anywho, it's stupid when you think about it, but it's the truth. I think mentally I was just conditioned to think that way. And so the thought of us coming to California, I did not like it. I did not want it. I didn't want it at all. But it happened and I had no choice but to deal with it because I was with my mom. For some reason, and she noticed, I love my mama, but why, oh why, she decided to take me on some auditions in 2003, knowing damn well I did not have the experience. I did not have it was 2003. I did not have the experience, practice, none of that, no knowledge, nothing. And I kind of felt blindsided. I'm trying to remember if I ever told her this. I probably did mention it, but I felt blindsided when she took me to these auditions. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I think I read something off the script and I probably was reading it like with a confused look and looking confused because I probably was thinking in my head, what the hell am I doing here? Like, I don't understand. So earlier when I mentioned about the headshots and knowing what headshots you want to submit to a role, I was not told none of that information. And I'm not expecting my mom to be a casting director. That's not what I'm expecting. But what I'm saying is I didn't have none of that knowledge. I just went in there clueless and blind. And maybe the 2003 auditions could have discouraged me and made me feel like I don't want to do that shit again because what the hell was that? It was just weird. But me looking back, I'm like, wow. I think it was like some kind of eyeglass commercial or it was some kind of commercial about eyeglasses or something because I was trying to remember like what did I go, but I don't even remember before that audition. I don't even remember us sitting down talking about, okay, Destiny, you're going in for an audition about eyeglasses, so what you need to do. We didn't have none of those talks. It wasn't no preparation, nothing. I just remember walking in there and the guy wanted me to read from a script. And I was kind of like, why the hell am I reading a script about eyeglasses? And the funny thing is at that time, I needed glasses. I needed, because I couldn't see that well. So I believe it was either 2000. It was probably when I was 12 or 13, either 2003 or 2004 is when the first time I got eyeglasses because I couldn't see that well. So I got a pair of glasses, which now makes so much sense to me because now I don't believe it was coincidental that I so happened to go on an audition for a pair of eyeglasses. But it's just kind of funny and stupid at the same time because, like I had no preparation, none of that. I went in there clueless. And I want to talk to my mom about that again. Like, why the hell? And I did mention it to her, but I want to say it again. Like, come on, man, what was you thinking? Come on, what the hell? So anywho, reason why I'm talking about the 2003 auditions, because we went on another one. Okay, let me tell you about this other audition I went on. People was dancing. Okay, this is some weird shit. When I mentioned to y'all about the Matrix, I talked to y'all about the Matrix. Another thing I want to mention about the Matrix is like when I said, when you have a love that's so great and you want to love on people and you want to receive that love in return, and they look at you like you're crazy or you're weird, and that's how you realize this is the Matrix. Another way in that moment to realize it's really the Matrix is when you see the people around you, they can see that you're being mistreated. They can see you're being rejected. They can see bad things happening to you, and they act like they don't see it. That that makes it the Matrix even more. When you look at a person, and they looking right at you in your eye socket. They looking right at you, and they see all the persecution you're getting, all of that rejection, and then they act as if they go on about their day as if it's nothing. That's how you know it's the Matrix, right? I wanted to mention that part because I don't think I mentioned that other part involving the other people around that see it, and either they don't do nothing about it, they don't say nothing about it, or they act like they don't see it. That's really weird to me. Then it really makes you feel like it's you against everybody else, and you're just in this own world by yourself fighting the whole world, like Neo in the Matrix. It's just really, it's weird. Reason why I'm even talking about the Matrix is because I'm telling you, them auditions in 2003, that was a tragedy. That was like some Matrix type of stuff. That was really, it was weird. Just going in an audition, not really knowing what to expect. I just, like I said, I don't really remember having preparation. I don't remember none of that. So now there was a time where I was supposed to sing, and there was a song I was working on. Okay, so I will give my mom some credit with that. There was a song I was working on, and I believe it was her suggestion for that song, and it was a great song, and I went on with that. But I couldn't sing at that time. I could sing now. If I were to sing the same song, it's like, oh yeah, I sound good now. But at the time when I was like 12, I could not sing at all, and she knew that. And that's why when I think about it now, I'd be like, "Damn, mommy, what? You know I sounded bad. Why did you let me go in there and make a fool of myself like that? Why did you do that to me?" I really be wanting to say that to her, like, "Damn, come on, man." You know. So I didn't have the preparation. I wasn't good. I didn't even feel like I had anyone to tell me like you need to work on your singing because you sound really bad. Like you really need to practice. I had to eventually years later came to that conclusion of trying to sing again after I felt like I was doing a good job rapping. Then I'm like, you know what, let me try singing again. I think I can do it. And then I got to a point to where now I'm confident singing. But at 12, no, I really sucked. Like I was really bad. So you don't trust me, you don't want to do what I did. And I can't fully blame myself because I was a minor. I was with someone taking me, and I mean it's the past. This is something that we can learn from, and I'm glad I have this experience so I can look back to know when I'm ready, or you ready to go and audition, have preparation, know what you're doing, listen to yourself. Do you sound good? And guess what? At that time, I knew I didn't sound good. I could hear myself and know I didn't sound good. So when I went into the audition, I wasn't confident at all because I knew I sound really bad. I knew that I could hear myself. But I think the fact that I had someone encouraging me, like, come on, yeah, let's do this. Then I'm like, okay, well, hey, my mom say it's cool, then I guess I'm good. But no, if you hear yourself and you don't sound good, you better keep practicing it. Okay? Trust me. Um, this is what I want to mention before I move on. Um, there was a time where I meditated and I thought, why did she take me on those auditions? What compelled her to do that? Why did she feel like I could act at 12? with no acting experience, couldn't sing, didn't know what the hell I was doing. Why did she feel at that time in 2003 it was the time? Well, this is my thesis or my thoughts is when I mention about a child, if a child doesn't have a lot of courage, they might not be that forthcoming with their statements. They could be it's possible they could be afraid if they're afraid of their parents, or yeah, so afraid to where they're not honest. Then that becomes, like, I hate to say it, sounds bad, but that becomes a lie, right? And oftentimes that happens with children that are not courageous. I was one of those children. And I really believe, looking back, that's probably why my mom felt like I could be a good actor. Because you know, for some years, and I still believe that I was really not that bad of a kid. I was a kid. Come on, kids be doing bad stuff and getting into stuff. But I know I wasn't as worse as other kids. I know I wasn't. However, and some people like to call it a white lie or a fib. No, I had a lot of black lies, because I guess a white lie is a little lie that don't hurt too much, but a black lie is something that hurt a lot, or you just do it a lot, whatever. There's a difference between a black lie and a white lie. Because I've heard people say, oh, it's just a white lie. And I'm thinking, like, a white lie, what is that? And I was like, well, what is a black lie? Is a black lie like even more worse or something? Because y'all saying that a white lie is just something so small. Anywho, I really believe that's probably why in 2003 she felt like, okay, yeah, she can act. She probably saw it, whatever I was doing, whatever dumb choices I was making at 10 or 8, she probably saw it within those choices and felt like, I'm about to take her on some auditions. But even with that, it's like, if you do that, I still, like I said, I still believe preparation and practice, you still need that. Especially before you go into audition, you need to know what you need to know. Okay. I thank her for that experience, because I have it to think about now, and to think about what I don't want to do and how I want to do things differently. So I'm grateful for the experience, but I just think it's kind of funny. Like, when I think, I'm not mad about it. I just think it's really funny when I think about it. So what I was going to say, pertaining to the Matrix, is one of those auditions. It was so weird. It's like I went in, and it was like a dancing and singing audition. Like, I remember the first part was like dancing, and then after dancing, you sing. And my mom knew I could dance at that time. Like, me and my sister, we used to dance a lot. But for some reason, it seemed like the other people that were there already knew the choreography. And I was so lost, because I was just looking around like, have y'all, that's how I felt. I was looking around like, have y'all already practiced on this or something? Because they would, after a few times, they would get it so right and so good. It felt like as if they already mastered that dance performance, and I was the one that was just kind of like, hold up, y'all trying to play me? It was just really weird. I'm not saying all auditions are like that, but that particular one, it was weird as hell, because after a few, like I said, after a few times of trying to do the dance move, and I can dance, but after a few times of doing the dance moves, it seemed like the rest of the class already worked on it a million times. And I was the one stumbling, and I was like, what the hell are y'all not telling me? I felt that way even at that age. And it was very discouraging. It was very discouraging, because I really felt like it was something they already worked on, and I was just out of the loop. That's what it seemed like. And so this audition made me not, I'm not going to lie, that made me not want to go on auditions again. because I just felt like it was some weird shit going on in Hollywood. And like I said, I still want to go on auditions again, but at that time, I really felt like it was some weird stuff going on, and they just try to keep certain people out of the loop, and they'll master it already. So when you come in, you don't know what you're doing. It'll make it look like as if you don't know how to dance when really you do, but they already worked on it. That's really what it seemed like. Um, so that was very discouraging, and trying to sing, like I said, I already knew I couldn't. I could hear myself and sing it. But I will say the good thing that came out of that audition was, even though I sounded bad, people were still very encouraging. And there were other kids like close to my age. They could have laughed at me and made fun of me, but they were still nice, and I never forgot about that. Yeah, I never forgot about that. So sometimes, and this is, if you are a upcoming actor or a aspiring actor, and other actors and y'all friends, encourage your friends, because it might motivate them to maybe do it again in a later time. Because I think that part of the singing part, with that part of the audition, is what made me new or want to start singing again later in my life, because they were just so encouraging. Like, and I was looking around, like, I was thinking in my head, y'all know I can't sing. Come on, I sound bad. But the fact that they were just like so encouraging, and like kind of like how a parent would be like, oh yeah, good job, you can do better, but you did great. That kind of made me like, wow, okay, you know what? That's what's up. And so, and that could have been why years later, when I did start practicing to sing and trying to get better with my singing, that's probably why I felt confident to do that, is because I had so much encouragement. Um, so make sure you encourage your fellow actors, or hey, maybe they're not an actor, maybe they do something else, maybe they're a dancer, whatever, a singer. Just encourage your friends, because that can motivate them to try again. Uh, so that was the blessing that came out of that audition, because I never forgot it. No. Now, yeah, that was weird though. That was so weird though. I was like, how the hell y'all know this dance so much, man? Y'all think I'm stupid. That's what I really wanted to go up to everybody and say, y'all think I'm stupid. But I will say, like I said, I didn't hold that one audition. I'm not gonna say that, because I really think that some people blame the whole Hollywood industry off of their experiences, and it's like, I don't believe that everything like that in Hollywood is like that. You just might have to go to the right one where they give you a fair chance. Because at that time, for the dancing part, I really don't believe I was given a fair chance, and it could have just been the place I went to. So it's like, when you feel that way, go somewhere else, and then go somewhere else. Keep going and keep trying. Don't ever give up. Um, so either it was 2011 or 2012. I went on, maybe it's like one audition. That time I was pregnant. Yeah, I'm trying to remember why I got a headshot there at the time. I'm trying to remember why I went on that audition. um, but then after that, I stopped because I had kids, and it wasn't. I don't believe it was the kids alone, because when they were in daycare, I still was able to work a job. I was still able to have some time to do other stuff. But I believe it was the relationship I was in, because it was the relationship I was in that took so much of my mental energy. It I didn't think about going. I don't think I even thought about going on no more auditions after that. And like I said, I went on one when I was pregnant. For some reason, I just remember one. But then after that, I don't remember too much of anything. And I know it probably had a lot to do with that relationship, because I was so consumed and caught up in that relationship where that was my whole world. And the thought of perfecting my craft as an actor, that didn't even come to mind because I'm thinking about this guy and how I'm so affected of this guy, and this is why and this is another reason why relationships can hurt your acting career. They can hurt it. Because if you really love somebody so much and your whole life becomes based on that person, damn, that's not good. Seriously, that's not good. Because when you start to realize and see, wow, when's the last time I auditioned for a role in a movie? When's the last time I used to have my own TV show? Now I don't. What the hell am I doing with my life? Then you might realize, oh, maybe might have a little something to do with your relationship. Now you ain't even working. You ain't even working. You know what I'm saying? So that was a negative part. Because I was like, damn, I just went on one audition. That's it? What? That's why. So I don't want to blame the kids. No, it's not the kids. It was a relationship. Yes, relationship. So before I move on to my Q&A, I want to talk about 2017, 2018, somewhere near that time, of how me I'm sitting meditating, thinking how I want to be an actor one day. It might not be, hey, maybe it won't happen until 5 years from now or 10 years. Who knows? But these are some good things to think about. Okay. I know near that time, when I talk about relationships, this is another relationship that I was in. Me looking back, I'll be sitting thinking like, damn, you did a lot of pretending in that relationship. You know that, right? Not saying that I'm a fake person, because I'm not fake. I'm a real person. However, I think it's something about that relationship that was kind of slowly turning me into a fake person. When I say fake, just like, okay, here's an example. If you don't like what your man is doing, and if y'all having sex, listen, I don't care what he say, that's your man. You putting your body on him, that's your man. He's just retarded. And when I say he's just retarded, if he say, hey girl, let's not put no titles on this. If y'all having sex, that's your dude. He's just really retarded. Okay? Because any man, if you are beautiful and you are a good woman, any man to not really want to claim you and you are a good spiritual woman, he has to be retarded. There has to be something wrong with him. Like, I'm just saying. But if you're with a retarded person and you start acting retarded, it's probably because you're with a retarded person. And y'all, like the Bible, when it talks about, and when let me explain to you what I mean by retarded. I'm not saying, well, yeah, I am saying a mental disability. It might not be physical. He might look good as hell, but he might have really something mentally wrong with him. And now you got something mentally wrong with you. Because you putting your body on top of his body, your spirits interconnecting. And now if you think he fake and he not being a real man, and you wondering why you not being a real woman, it's probably because you already done put your body on top of his. And that's what happens. You become what you put inside of you. My grandma used to tell me this, and it used to be really annoying. She would say, you are what you eat. And at that time, it was really annoying because her answer to everything was always God. It's like, oh, no, I felt like she took it too far. She took it too far. It made it annoying. Now, I'm not going to lie. My answer to everything is God. It's always God. And then I think of my grandma, like, you know what? She was right. Not all the time, though, because there was times where she was really annoying with it. No, like, seriously, really annoying. However, I understand it, though. Yeah. I understand it more as an adult. And she said, "You are what you eat." I really believe she meant a literal thing. Like if you put chips inside of you, you're gonna start acting like a chip. How do you act like a chip? That sounds stupid, right? No. Like what is and I told my kids this too. Like seriously. What does a chip do? A chip, it just sits there. Like it doesn't move unless you move it. It's in the bag. It's just there. If you shake the bag, maybe it'll move, but it ain't gonna move until you pick it up and eat it. And if you eating all these damn chips, now you're gonna be just like that chip. You ain't gonna want to get up and let somebody pick you up and move you. You're gonna be lazy. That's my point. You're gonna be lazy, you're gonna be tired, you ain't gonna have a lot of energy or motivation because now you are becoming just like that damn chip that you want to keep eating. And it's okay to eat chips. But if you eat so much junk and chip, then you become a piece of junk. If you eat a lot of fruit and healthy stuff, now you are replenishing your body with healthy stuff. Okay? So I really believe that's what she meant when she said you are what you eat. And I still believe that concept. However, I believe it's the same thing if a man and a woman is together and you allow a man to stick his personal parts in you and they go in your body, now you become like him. So you're like eating him up. You know, when people be like, "Oh, I need a snack," you just ate your snack, and now you are just like your snack. And if your snack is not an apple and he's a chip, damn, now you got another chip to deal with. And some of us get chips instead of apples, or shall I say, some of us get chips instead of oranges. I like oranges; they're good. They're good for you. So I think you get what I'm saying. I think you get where I'm going with this. Okay. And in that time period, and I'm cool with this person at this time. Maybe I'm just making fun, like light of the situation now. I'm actually really cool with this person. I have no problems with him. Like seriously. But at that time, I'm probably saying it in a way because this is from my lens, my perspective of at that time, this is how I saw it at that time. Of me becoming something different, something that I really wasn't. And that oftentimes it happens when we're in relationships and we might not be nothing like that person, but if they do have some flaws or something wrong with them and you get too close to them, you know what I mean by too close, intimately, sexually, you become like that person, you know? And so I found myself doing a lot of goodness, of a lot of like acting. And this, I didn't see it at that time, but now me looking back, I can see it, like a lot of acting in that relationship. And when I say acting, it's like pretending like, hey, I need your help. Come help me. Whatever the situation is, I need your help. I'm in the hospital. You just want to see if that person cares enough to come. And when they don't, you're like, okay, I'm testing you. And you're showing me that you don't care. I'm testing you to see if you care about me. You're showing me that you don't. But in those moments of testing, you're pretending to be like you're so sick, you're in the hospital, you need them to come, right? Now that's so unnecessary. Don't do that. Because when you really know your worth, you're not going to be spending time doing that. The moment you see someone don't care, it's like, okay, let me find someone that do, right? But at that time, that's not where I was at mentally. That's just not where I was at. And that's just being honest. And a lot of women probably won't admit this, but like I said, let me say this. I feel like I have nothing to lose because in a way I feel like people already know my personal life anyways. So you might as well be honest about it. Not saying you have to share everything in your podcast. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, hey, people probably already know anyways. They know. Okay. And that's the way I see it. It's like people are probably already know what do I got to lose by saying this. They already know. It's the truth. And then I think if it's the truth, if you live by the truth, you're gonna be fine no matter what. If it is the truth, even if it sounds bad, if it's the truth, it's the truth. What you don't want to do is live by a lie. That's when things can get dangerous. Okay, just remember that. Anywho, yeah. So that was the last serious relationship I was in, and there was a lot of pretending and acting in that, and um, I'm grateful now. I'm grateful as an aspiring actor. I'm grateful for those moments because I can look back and think. I mean, and I want to share this because it's embarrassing, but I really don't care. Like it's to me, it's kind of funny. There is there's this time when wow, I just really was living in darkness. Like I had no clue. Like I was really living in darkness. Um, but trying to rehearse, this is how you know you've gone too far mentally, is when it's difficult to leave a voicemail on your man's. Like I said, if y'all haven't said, I don't care how retarded he is and what he say. That's your dude. Okay. He may have other women, obviously, if he's don't want to commit you, right? But that's still your dude. So if your dude, if you so nervous and afraid and not to even leave a voicemail on his phone, you gotta rehearse it so many damn times. It's so funny. So many times because he's already conditioned you to feel I don't want to say just not brave, so afraid to confront him about anything. You're afraid to even leave a voicemail. That is some weird shit. Because before I know before that time I was able to just leave a person a voicemail, it's not a big deal. But for some reason it got to that point because I knew the moment I would confront or say stuff, it would be a problem. And so it got to the point to where I felt like I had to rehearse a voicemail maybe about 20 times and say, how do I want to say, no, I would literally be sitting there like, no, I don't want to say it like this. No, I got to say it like this. And I was literally rehearsing as if it was a role for a movie or a show, which is really crazy. It's really crazy. Really, really crazy. It kind of reminds me of that show I watched on BET called Mary Jane with Gabrielle Union. I watched that a while ago, and some of the stuff she would do and say, I thought was so funny. Like just the way that she was acting, to me, I just thought it was super funny because it was kind of some of the stuff that I was doing, like being Mary Jane. Yeah, that's what it, that's what it was called. And sometimes it be like that when you're in relationships. You would do and say some of the stupidest stuff. Like, really, you got to rehearse a voicemail 20 times before you leave it? You must be out your dog loving mind. Like, really? But sometimes relationships will get you like that. If the man is just, and sometimes it happens, like I said, when the man really shows he really don't care. Because if a woman has comfort to know that her man does care, she's gonna freely just leave the voicemail. She's not gonna think twice. Hey, call me back when you can, because she knows he's gonna return her call. She knows he's gonna be there. She knows it's something good about him. He cares somewhat. But when you're that afraid, it's because you know deep down inside this person really doesn't care. You know, and this is not to bash anybody, but what I'm saying is it has a lot to do with acting, because when you're in those relationships, when someone's showing you that they really don't care, you might have some of those acting moments. And think back to some of those moments where you're afraid to leave a voicemail, or you're afraid to call, and you might not write it down, but in your mind, or you're talking out loud of how many times you want to rehearse how the phone conversation is going to go. Like, what? And it might sound crazy, but come on, admit to yourself, you've probably done it. Come on now. Have you really, think about it. Have you really thought about how you wanted the conversation to go with your guy? You're thinking about, okay, so if he says this, I'm going to say this. And then if he says this, you're thinking about the react. That's too much. You didn't gone overboard. Everything in a relationship should be natural, easygoing. And if you have to rehearse it, your relationship is as fake as a movie. Your relationship is really fake, faker than your favorite movie. That's a problem. Okay, so I want to move on to the Q&A, but I felt like it was, for my experience, that's in my personal life, I felt like it was important to share that because it's the truth. And it's going through it at that time. If someone would have asked me or me a minute, of course I wouldn't have, because it was embarrassing, because I was going through it at that time. It was embarrassing to know that that's really, because I'm really a courageous person, but sometimes relationships can take that courage away from you. It just, you used to be courageous, now you are no longer it, because somebody, either they have the power or they think they have the power, or whatever it is, or you allowed them to have the power to change you. But the whole point of these experiences that I'm sharing, like I said, is just remember, it's really to think about those acting moments that you've had. I'm sure you've had some. If you live in America or you live in Los Angeles, let's just say Los Angeles, Hollywood, I think naturally some people can't help to be fake. I mean, they're like that. It's, my mom told me there's something that she said some stuff that really is good advice. Some of the stuff, maybe not, but she have said some stuff to where I'll be thinking like, yeah, she did say that too. Like, the world is a stage and everybody's actors. She said something like that. This is a whole big stage. And the more I think about it, I'm like, I get it. I get it now. It makes a lot of sense. And it could be even in a relationship. So I really believe that relationships help an actor a lot, because when I mentioned earlier a person's struggle, Angela Bassett, Jada Pinkett, and I named some other actors too, but those two, they look like they've had a lot of heartbreak or personal struggle in their real life. They just look like that. That's the impression I get just based off of looking at their acting. So if they really did have those kind of bad relationships or whatever, and it brought something out of them for their acting, then it could really, like I said, relationships, it could really help a person. Then that's my point. It could help them think about that when it comes to playing that role. Oh, I'm sorry. Before I go to part 4, part 3 is the reenactments. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest. Initially, when I thought of the reenactments the other day, I felt like I had to remember my initial thought of wanting reenactments in my podcast, in the Strange Love podcast. Initially, I felt like I needed a partner, to do my reenactments with. Now, there has been videos where and this was another idea. I've seen videos of people acting with themselves. Like, so it'll be like maybe half of this screen is them, the other half is them, and they're acting with themselves. And I thought it was pretty cool. But sometimes when I see it, I'm not going to lie, sometimes I think it's kind of corny looking. I'm not going to lie. Like, at times it kind of looks a little corny. but at times it's kind of funny, right? So I thought about doing that too. But as of now, right now, the way I'm feeling right now with the reenactments, it's like I might try to do it again, but I got to remember my initial thought is I really wanted to have a partner. And when I say a partner, I'm saying somebody I can rely on, because if I have to do this, if I'm committing, see, I committed to this podcast to do it every week. At first, I wasn't really quite sure of what day I wanted to do it, and then it seemed like Mondays was the best day, right? But I told myself, no, Destiny, you made a commitment to do this every single week. And if for some reason you feel the need to cancel it or postpone it, then you got to make that known to the people or whatever. But you already committed yourself. But like I said, I feel like I really feel like I need a partner. And those were my initial thoughts. Like, I enjoy, if you don't know, which I'm sure you might know because I probably said it in another video, but I enjoy watching Key and Peele a lot. And those two people, they work so, Jordan Peele and Keegan Michael Key work so good with each other. They're like partners in that, in their show. And that's kind of how I saw the reenactments in my podcast, is me having a partner like that, you know? Yeah, me having a partner like that. So this might change, but I did want to mention it. It's like, I really don't have anybody, and I'm not saying this for you to feel bad for me, because I feel kind of weird saying this, but I'm gonna say it anyways. I don't really have anybody in my life where I feel like I can rely on them every week. Like, to rely to say, hey, every Sunday or every Monday, every Sunday or every Monday, let's meet up and do that. I don't, maybe one day I'll have it, but as of now, I'm just kind of like, I kind of want to put a pause on the reenactments, because I know in reality what my initial thought was, to have a partner, and I don't have a partner right now. I could have just wrote a script and really try my best to act out the script as if it's me talking to someone else, but it's really me saying both roles. But I just didn't really want to do that, because um, if I choose to do it at a later time, that's fine. But as of now, I'm gonna just pause it. And so, in case you're wondering why I'm skipping part 3, it's because I really feel like I need a partner. So I'm gonna skip that. I want to move on to my Q&A, part 4. Um, I got like 12 questions. So the first question is, okay. Why should we know and study our 3 C's? Well, I think it really can benefit us. What the Bonnie lady said, I already felt like I was like, wow, I after reading that information, I honestly felt like I have a better chance with auditioning, just based off the information that she provided me. I felt like, wow, this is some good resource, good information. So I think that's why we should study it. If you feel like it's going to benefit you, then you should study it. And greater, if you think it's going to greater your chances of getting that role that you want to be casted for, then why not? You know what I'm saying? Why not take more information? Now, I'm not saying take all the advice people give you, because there might be some advice someone gives you to where you're just like, this makes no sense to me. I don't see how the hell this is going to help. If you feel that way, you don't have to take it. And if someone make you feel bad and say, well, you should have took all that advice. No, you take what makes sense to you. Just take what makes sense to you. And to me, the 3 C's made a lot of sense to me. So that's why I believe we should study them. Two, what is a way that you have acted? Oh, what is a way that you have acted as if your life depended on it? You know, I want to mention 2020. Wow, when we're going through that pandemic, that probably was the first time in my life where I really feel like I was acting as if my life depended on it. Like it seemed like no matter where I went, it felt like people wanted to kill me. Like when I say wanted to kill me or do something bad to me, it's like if you don't get this shot, and I've never felt like that in this. I'm 34 now. This 34 years of living, but I really feel like I put my acting shoes on in the year of 2020 because I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like businesses closed to the public, but they're really open. But only certain people can go in, and I felt like they were purposely locking me out. And I'm not saying I was the only one locked out. I'm not saying that, but that's the way it felt. That's really the way it felt. And I had to act in my life as if it like when I say act as if your life depended on it, like if you think like as if you're about to lose your life, someone's gonna kill you. Now you got to put your acting shoes on. If that makes sense. I know it sounds crazy, but 2020, I was really like, these people are trying to kill me. I got to get through this some kind of way. So you got to act brave, even though you're afraid because you feel like the whole world is trying to kill you with a shot. That's how I felt. Like, what the hell is this? People are keep pushing this shit on me, and I've never went through nothing like that in my whole life. That's probably the first time I felt like my rights as an American was being violated. Is with that. Like, how do you force someone to do that? That's to me, it is unconstitutional. It's you know, and so me wanting to live and not lose my life, there's a lot of acting in that. So that's a way. When I say what is a way, I mean, like if a person is like they are shutting you out or they're closing you out from the business, from the place of business. Now you have to act like as if it doesn't bother you. You have to act as if you're fine. You're not hurt. You're not mad. You're fine. Like, oh, I'm cool. I'm good. hmm When really in your head, you're not good at all. You are like thinking like, what the hell is going on? These people are trying to kill me. Right? That's acting. If you have to really pretend like you're fine when really you're not. That so anyways, that was crazy. That was real crazy. Um, three, and there's more stuff I would want to say about that. Um, well, yeah, like how do you shut someone out that's a part of the company? How do you do that? Anyways, I just wanted to make that. I just wanted to make that comment. Like, how do you? But that really showed me how people really felt about me. So we're in 2025. I'm working. My life has gotten way better since then. But I will never forget the year 2020 when I experienced that pandemic and people really, it seemed like almost everywhere I turned, people saw what I was going through and it's like they didn't care or it's like they wanted me to die, you know, and it just really made me see how cold people really are. And I knew how cold people are, but that year I was like, wow, okay. So in those moments, if you are afraid or you don't understand. When I use the word afraid, yeah, if you feel like the whole world is trying to kill you, you might be afraid at first because you don't understand, right? So you might be like, what? Y'all trying to kill me or something? What are y'all trying to do to me? Use me as an experiment? And then you feel like it's just you. You feel like everybody's singling you out. Like it's just you. Then you're going to act in your life like you're going to act like as if your life depended on it. You're going to. If you want to still live, but if you want to give up and just do what they say, oh, go give up. But I don't encourage anybody to give up. No, don't give up. Because I was really like, hold on, who are you to tell me that I gotta put this shit in my body? That what? So I'll never forget that year. And if I'm like reaching under my shirt, just know it's hot and my titties. I'm sweating. I'm trying to wipe the sweat off me. I'm just hot. Anyways, moving on, because like I said, there's a lot more I would like to say about that. But I'd rather keep some of my thoughts in my head. 3. How does personal struggle, heartbreak, or hardship help someone become an actor? Well, I already mentioned this. If you've already learned how to develop real emotion when someone hurts you, I really believe it'll help you with that same emotion in acting. Because you already know you have the ability to use that emotion. Like, here's a quick example. Let's say someone in the suburbs in a good area, they don't have the experience of struggling financially. Let's say they never moved anywhere. They've been in the same house their whole life. And they try to audition for a role that requires them to play that, like an 8 Mile character like Eminem. I'm just using an example. Okay, I'm just using an example. Somebody that's really struggling, trying to make it. They got to play that role. Or maybe they playing a role of Boys in the Hood. Someone struggling and they want to graduate high school to be a part of the football team or whatever, go to college. I'm trying to remember the movie, but they're struggling financially some way and they're trying to make it out of that situation. Let's say they've never personally been through that. It's still possible for them to do a good job as an actor. So I'm not trying to discourage those people, but what I'm saying is if it might be a chance that they might not do as good as someone that does already have the personal struggle experience. You already have that experience in your personal life. You could just pick that up and take it with you. But if you don't, you might have to go to school for it. You might have to go to theater for someone to like try to help you with this type of emotion and help you with that type of emotion. But if you've already dealt with so many different type of emotions, usually these different emotions come from different experiences in life. You might not need school for it. And that could, like I said, this could be a reason why my mom felt the need to take me on auditions, because she probably knew I didn't need to go to school. All the stuff we've been through and all the stuff I've done as a kid, she probably knew like I didn't need it. So some people need it and some people probably don't. That's my answer to that. It's like, and I think it has a lot to do with what you go through in your personal life. I really believe that because I can see it on the screen. Like the Tyler Perry movies, even just, I'm not even going to name all the actors because he be having some good actors in his movies. But let's just say I'm talking about Tyler Perry. Even just looking at him, I mean, he can act too. And then when he shared his story and his testimony, it made a lot of sense to me because I'm like, see, that's exactly what I'm saying. Someone that has experienced those uh, experiences, struggle, financial, whatever other experience, now they can bring it with them, and it's believable. It's believable. So they have that advantage. That's what I'm saying. They have that advantage versus someone that doesn't have the same experience. 4, do you need to go to school to become a great, successful actor? Well, I just said it. No. Maybe yes, though. It depends on you as a person. What have you been through in your life? You might need school. Maybe you don't. It really just depends on the person. And I think, like I said, I think their experience in life, their personal experience, has a lot to do with that. Five, if you are naturally good at acting, what are some ways to sharpen your acting skills? Okay, so this is pertaining to the people that I feel like don't need school. Let's say you don't need school because you have a natural gift. It's just you got that it factor, something about you that people just love so much. They just want to see you talk. They just want to look at you. They want to see you smile or whatever it is, right? But you can sharpen it up. You know what I'm saying? You can get a little sharper. What can you do? Well, and I have to ask myself this question pertaining to me. It's like I think if you can afford it and hopefully it don't cost too much, and maybe some people might offer their services for free because sometimes people do offer services for free. Um, Maybe having an acting coach won't be such a bad idea because I even thought about it. Like I like mentors. I like the whole shadowing and having the thought of a mentor. I think that's a great thing to have. You know, and I think it doesn't mean that you can't act. It doesn't mean that you don't have the it factor. It doesn't mean that you're not capable. But I think it can sharpen a person up so good to where you have a coach. It's like football practice. I mean, come on, you have a coach that's coaching you and he's like helping the whole team out for football, right? Can you imagine a whole football team with no coach? How does that happen? They probably will be all over the place and it's not going to look right. And they're probably not going to be doing such a great job if they didn't have their coach. I highly doubt it because I really believe the coach is what gives the encouragement to the team. He's the one that teaches the plays. He's the one that, he's the one that helps. Even if they're going through something in personal life, if you have a good coach, maybe he might care enough about you to set you to the side, bring you to the side and talk to you about it and still encourage you to be a part of the team because he don't want to lose on a great player, right? To me, that's a good coach, is a coach that really truly cares about the people. And it's not just all about money. It's like, no, I do care about you. If you're going through something, come and talk to me about it because I care, right? That's a great coach. So I'm just thinking in my head, like, yeah, if a football team needs it and a basketball team needs it, and they can practice so much to where they're perfect, like y'all keep winning all these games, that means y'all became perfect at what you do, right? You keep winning and winning. Maybe your coach has a little something to do with it. You probably should give him a little credit, right? Well, I think acting could be similar. Like maybe having an acting coach or a mentor that is qualified in that area and someone that can coach you probably will sharpen you up so good. And this is, like I said, this is something I thought about. Like, hey, it probably wouldn't hurt to find me an acting coach. That might be great. Six, how old is too old when it pertains to actors in retirement? Huh. I want to think about this. How old is too old? You know what? I think if you're good, you're good. However, let me just say, okay, it may not look the same if you are old as hell and you used to look super good when you were younger, and now you old as hell. Some people might not want to see your old ass in the movies. However, if you are who you are and you know who you are, some people are probably won't care. Like I'll name three actors to me that I feel like are really great at what they do. And they are old, fine, but they're getting older. Maybe in their younger days they used to be finer, but they're getting older, but they're so talented. Even if I saw them older, I would just be happy to know, hey, that's such and such, right? So I really think talent has a lot to do with it. Talent. If you get an actor that's old and he's not as talented, but somehow, some way he got all this fame overnight. I don't want to say overnight, but he got all this fame, but now he old. It might not be the same. So I mentioned Denzel earlier, how Denzel is good. I mean, who doesn't like Denzel? But some other actors that I really like is Richard Gere and George Clooney. And I'm not gonna lie, I used to think they were really fine too. I mean, hey, I know people are married with their families, so I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I'm just saying someone that used to just simply watch the movies and think, damn, he's fine. Richard Gere was that person. That was the person where I was like, whoa. And but I'm thinking about Pretty Woman. I'm thinking of him in that movie, like, and this is just me talking about how fine he is. I'm not even talking about how good his acting was. Yeah, he was a good actor, but for some reason, when I was younger, I used to be more fascinated. Oh, damn, he fine, right? We all know George Clooney is good at what he do, and he looks good. Okay, so these guys, I'm sure they're getting older, and they keep. I mean, we all got to grow older, right? But I really believe with George Clooney and Richard Gere, with them, I think who wouldn't want to have them in them, even if they're getting older. Now, if they walking real slow with a cane, it might. I mean, it might be a little time to just kind of do something else. But I don't think they're at that point in their life to where they still can move around. They don't look like they 80 years old. To me, 80 and 90 is like you need to sit your ass down. And even hold on, even at 80 and 90, you can still be an actor. Don't get me wrong. You can still be in the movies and you can play somebody's grandpa. You get what I'm saying? There's still always a chance for old people. Like now you are not the young, fine man that's getting whatever, getting the pretty woman, like Richard Gere in the movie Pretty Woman. Now you somebody's grandpa, but you still doing your thing. So I really don't want to discourage someone to ever stop acting, but what I'm saying is hey, come on now. Maybe you don't want to play someone's grandpa. And you like, you know what? I'm just too old. I don't want to be nobody's grandpa. Let me just sit my ass down, right? So I think it kind of depends on what what that person want to do. But yeah, Richard Gere, he's good looking. Back in his day, to be honest with you, I haven't seen him lately. I'm sure he's gotten older. Um, but that's someone that if I saw in a movie or in real life, I would still be like, oh my God, Richard Gere. I saw, remember, oh, Pretty Woman. Because that's when you have fans, that's what they think of those movies. So keep doing what y'all doing. So my answer is I don't believe you could ever be too old when you're talented or when you really were fine and you have fans thought you were fine. Then it's probably don't apply to you. So yeah, don't listen to the haters. Don't. Even though I said you probably should sit your ass down. Like I said, you might feel that way about yourself too. Seriously, you might really be like, man, I need to wrap it up. Just saying. 7. What are some ways you have acted in your personal life? I already said this in my relationships. Not knowing my worth. And, you know, there's this, and I talked about this before in some of the other podcasts. I briefly mentioned it, like about not knowing your worth. But sometimes not knowing your worth in a relationship, you can, oh, you got to play the role or pretend to be something or whatever to get someone's attention. And that, if you have that experience, I'm not suggesting you should do that moving forward with your life because that's just, come on, think more of yourself. You are worthy, okay? However, use that experience to your advantage. Think of all those times you acted a fool in a relationship. Just think of the times. Those foolish, stupid moments can really help you to become what you're trying to become pertaining to acting. They can help you. So think of all the dumb times you didn't said something stupid, or you didn't lied, or you played a game, or whatever. Just use it to your advantage. Eight. If you don't have the time to go on auditions due to a 9 to 5 job, what should you do? Honestly, what should you do? That's a good question. What I would say is, in the meantime, if it's really important to you, find a way to practice at home. Write a script. If you're a good writer, write your own script and try to act it out. Write a song. I've learned that even with me, since I do music, it seems like when I can act the when I feel like I'm acting good is when I'm singing. That makes sense. When I'm singing and a lot of emotions come out. It could be a song about how somebody did me wrong, or it could be a song about how somebody hurt me, or it could be a song about how I want to hurt somebody, or it could be a song of whatever the song is about. It's emotional if it's a personal song, right? I have spiritual songs. I have the gospels, about two gospel, the gospel album and a gospel EP. So those are more spiritual, but then I have my personal albums. I have two personal albums where you would hear a lot of that, the emotions and stuff like that, right? If you actually watch a music video, I'm gonna mention Michael Jackson again because he's someone that I've admired since a young age. He was able to make his own short films by doing music videos. And within those music videos, he was acting in it, but the parts of him actually singing, you can look and it looks as if he's somewhat acting even when he's singing. I think that's why people want to see someone perform live, because it's like you see the emotion. It's like a movie, or it's like a show. It's a show. They're performing and they're putting on an act. The same as acting. And when I say the same, I mean in that sense. Like, acting is performing and putting on an act, right? Well, singing is, like I said, is similar. When you on stage and you're performing, now you have to go into the character of who you were in that song. Were you somebody that was crazy as hell and you wanted to hurt somebody and you made a whole diss record about them? Or were you someone that was really hurt and somebody did you wrong and now you're all emotional in the song and it's about how someone hurt your feelings? Okay. Well, that's a whole performance. You're putting on an act based off the character of who you were in that moment in your life. If it was a real thing, a lot of my songs are real and from real experiences. A lot of my, and Michael Jackson said this before, and I agree with it. It's like, if I sing it, I mean it. Everything I sing, I mean it. And I feel the same way. It's like, yes, I mean everything I sing. Everything I sing. Um, so that's my suggestion is, yeah, if you have to work full time and you don't have time to go on auditions, find a way at home to work on how you can become a better actor. So when you do have that opportunity or time to vote, to devote a lot of time on auditions, you'll be ready. You get what I'm saying? So it's like maybe that could be God's way, and this is applying to me. That could be God's way of telling you right now is not the best time to become an actor. You got to go to work. You don't have that kind of time. Actors devote their time to that. Maybe they might be living, somebody might be living with their mama or their auntie or their cousin, and they ain't got to worry about paying rent. And they have the luxury of going on auditions because they technically don't have to work full time. Maybe they only have to work part time to help out around the house. You get what I'm saying? Me, I gotta work full time because it's just me. It's just me doing everything. So yeah, if you got people and you live with people or whatever, and you don't have to work full time, then you have time. But for a full time job, the best thing to do is work on your craft. And that, like I said, that's God's way of telling. If you don't have help and you have don't have that luxury, to me, even going to college is a luxury because then you have that kind of time to go to school. Or maybe if you can go to work part time and go to school part time, you have time. But some people don't have that luxury to only go to work part time because their bills exceed that amount of time that they're using for work, if that makes sense. You get what I'm saying? Like they have to make sure the amount of whatever they have to pay every month, their expenses and bills is paid. And usually it takes a full-time job for that. So with that, I want to say that's not the last question, but I will want to say becoming an actor or going to school, that's a luxury. Just know that if you have had that opportunity to actually become an actor, you God bless you got blessed. That's a blessing. Some people don't have that. They have to struggle and they don't have that luxury. I hate to say thank your lucky stars because I don't believe in the word luck. I hate hearing or using the word luck, but just be thankful that you have that luxury to do that because that's really a blessing. I mean, it's a luxury. Okay. 9. Who or what inspires you to act? Well, I already mentioned some great actors. There's so many more. Gosh, so many good actors out there. So many movies, so many shows that I've watched to where I'm like, wow, if they make me believe them and I want to meet you, like I really want to meet you because I believed you so much in your role, damn, whoa, you must really become a master at what you do to make me want to meet you just because you're that damn good. That probably inspired me somewhat to be like, wanting to do it too. But I think also is because doing music and I already feel like I can dance, but I'm not trying to become a dancer. Like if I really wanted to dance, I could just dance in my own music videos. If I wanted to make some professional videos, I just dance in those, right? I'm not trying to do all that extra stuff. But I know uh oh, that's what it is. I was trying to figure out who. Okay, so what inspired me to act is wanting to add something to the other great thing, the other things that I'm great at. I knew that if I could go from not singing good to go to singing good, not rapping, like I used to get made fun of as a little kid. Some of my family members used to make fun of me when I would try to rap because it would sound like some cat in the hat type of stuff. And I think I was kind of purposely trying to make it funny, but it was, and I'm talking about maybe like 10 or 9 or something, 8. How I probably was like 10. But at one point, even with rapping, it was so corny and cat in the hat. And that was, I mean, I was a little kid. But if I can go from that to really feeling like I've mastered it enough to where I'm like, I feel like I'm on a level of the professional ones that rappers that I admire, then I really believe that anybody could do anything as long as they practice it. because that's really what I did. I practiced singing, practiced rapping. Me and my sister used to practice dancing a lot when we were younger. That was a long time ago, but still. So then it made me think of acting. Like, if I really practiced it, oh, I can master that too. So it kind of gives you confidence when you continue to master things in your life so much. And when I say master, I'm saying practice. Practice makes perfect. Just keep practicing, keep trying. And like that third C is commitment. To me, that means practice. Keep practicing, commit yourself. If you have that luxury and time to go on auditions, make it your full-time job to go on auditions. If you have that kind of, I don't have that kind of time. I don't. So I mean, I hate to say it, but that's what lets me know I'm not ready to be an actor. Because I mean, I could practice at home and write my little scripts or whatever, my little scripts. But going to that next level, I'm not ready because I don't have that kind of time. Um, but yeah, you'll have the confidence. That's like even a basketball player. I'm just saying, if y'all can, basketball players, you can practice that much to be that good at it. Maybe you can be a good actor too, because it's about practicing, and then become confident. So it's just when you're good at something, just know you can be good at something else, but you have to practice it. And when I said who, so that's what inspires me to act, but who inspires me to act? Yeah, of course, Michael Jackson, because I'm just saying, a lot of his stuff, a lot of his music videos, he's acting in it, and then I felt like I can relate to him because uh, sometimes you may not have people in your life like me that you can rely on, depend on, or you know, trust or whatever or maybe you may not have the kind of money, whatever, to where now you're left alone thinking, how can I do this on my own by myself? And I think that, writing a script is like, wow, that's the first step because how am I going to get a script from someone else? Oh, hey, I can write. Let me just do it myself. And then the next thing you know, oh, hey, how am I going to find all these other actors to be in my film? Oh, hey, I can act. Let me just do it myself. So then you kind of become like this damn nutty professor playing all these damn roles because you can't find no one to rely on, or maybe you're not really looking. You're just trying to do it yourself. Who knows? Because I ain't gonna lie, I don't think I've really been looking and pulling people aside and say, hey, y'all, I haven't really been searching. I'm just saying I don't really have them in my personal life already. So but I think if I really tried and looked for someone, maybe who knows what would come out of it. But I don't think I've really been searching all like that, to be honest with you. But yeah, Michael did a good job. Yeah, I haven't been because some people can put on, uh, they can advertise it online or paper advertisement in person. Hey, I'm looking for some actors. If y'all want experience or y'all want to be a part of me, I haven't done none of that. So I'm not even going to play it and act like I really tried to find people and they're just not reliable. No, that's a lie. I haven't really tried all like that. I'm just already trying to do it myself. But who knows? One day I might do that. Who knows? I'm just not doing it right now. Um, yeah, he made me believe. Michael made me believe that it's possible to do it by yourself because he did it. And when I say by yourself, look, he didn't really do it by himself. He had directors and producers. He had people, that a whole team. Michael had a whole team working with him on his music videos. He even brought other people in to work, collab with other. I mean, so in reality, he didn't really do it by himself. However, just mentioning like acting, like let's just say that he played a lot of different roles himself, and he would. Okay, this is what I mean by do it himself. It's rare to search a movie with Michael Jackson in it unless it's his own stuff. That's really what I'm saying. So I don't want to say by himself, but what I'm saying is I don't think I've ever really. seeing him in a well-known movie. What well-known movie do you know that Michael Jackson is starring Michael Jackson? Maybe he did some voiceovers. Maybe he could have played a over or did some background work and been a director, a part of a movie. I really believe he could have did some of that work, but actually playing a character in some well-known movies, I don't think I've ever seen any of them with Mike. And he was famous, so you would think that he would have been in some of those movies, but no, he had his own stuff. So that's what I mean by do it on your own, like have your own. And it could have had a lot to do with creative control. It could have had a lot to do with him wanting it a certain way, knowing that, hey, if I pitch this script or if I pitch this idea to these people, they might not like it or they might try to change it. I want it to be the way I want it to be. So let me do it the way I want. I think that's what it had a lot to do with. But no, he had a lot of people working with him, though. He worked with so many other different people. So he didn't do it alone. So with that being said, you're gonna need somebody. You're gonna need somebody at the end of the day. You're gonna have to work with someone. I kind of think it's nearly impossible to do it alone. Because are you gonna have all that equipment? Like, are you gonna have all that equipment that they use in movie? I highly doubt it. You're gonna need someone to help you that's more experienced to do the technical side. You're gonna need somebody, actors, something. Even if you're a great writer, you're gonna need some help. It's inevitable. It just is. So I got about 3 more questions. Then I'll be done. About done with this. Okay. So 10. What scripture can apply to or pertains to acting? Okay. So in case you might be wondering or confused of why I mentioned these scriptures in the beginning, I want to explain to you now. I answered. So what scripture can apply to or pertain to acting? Luke 6, chapter 6, verse 27 to 29. That scripture, I still have it right here. Talking about loving your enemies. Wow. That's a perfect scripture for an actor. It is, because guess what? You might have to work with someone you really don't like. Maybe it's someone you heard about and you don't like them, or maybe y'all bumped heads at some point or had a disagreement or something or whatever. And you're just like, ooh, I really can't stand this person, but now I got to work with them. I know what that feels like. But if you love your enemies and you master loving your enemy, this is something that actors do. This is, I really believe this should be like the core scripture of what an actor really is about, is you love all kind of people. I mean, and then you become a part of this community. And this is just something I meditated on. You become a part of this community that you all have something that you relate to and have in common. Is acting. And it could be, let's say you heard something about this person or you seen them or whatever the issue is, and you thought maybe they're not a nice person, but y'all end up working together on a movie together. Now, if you want to be in that movie, you kind of gotta force yourself to like that person to do a good job in the movie. So it's like, in a way, it's like you're loving your enemy. And this is why when I said loving your enemy doesn't mean you have to be friends with your enemies and hang out with them. However, sometimes you have to work with them. But you might be amazed to know, and this is not always the case, trust me, it's not. But you might be amazed to see and know that you guys might end up, you could possibly make a friend out of an enemy based off your good experience with whatever movie you guys are doing, with each other. Like the movie was so successful, you start to realize you had a good time. Now people love the movie. Now you guys have interviews about it, and that means you have to spend more time with this person because now someone called you in for an interview and both of y'all got to go in, right? But now you're starting to realize, wow, I'm starting to spend more time with this person that I thought I didn't like. And it brings you closer to your enemy. And now you're no longer enemies. And you probably slowly might not even realize that this person is no longer my enemy. I was forced to work with him. And now we kind of cool. So, I mean, and that's a good thing about the way God works is because it could actually bring you closer to someone and y'all become friends. And sometimes it doesn't always work like that. Sometimes I know for me, because it has happened to me like that before in the past, but uh, sometimes it's like somebody that's really my enemy or they're treating me really bad and being really mean to me. I just want to stay away from that person, especially if I know they're trying to make me mad. That's a bully. If I got to work with them and they're purposely trying to make me mad almost every time I'm around them or see them, I'm not going to want to have to be around them unless I have to, right? If I have to communicate with them, then I have to. But the moment I can get away, you best believe I'm getting away. But some things like acting is way different because, and see, my job isn't acting. It's other stuff, But with acting, you might have actually a role to speak to that person directly, and y'all have to look face to face in your, each other eyes and communicate and get close. That's more to me. Acting is more emotional and more personal, and you have to like kind of open yourself up to that person. That's way different than some jobs you can avoid the person. And I agree with that. I stand by that. I believe that. It's like, especially if you really do have an enemy that is only getting worse, or they're either remaining the same or they're getting worse or they're becoming meaner or whatever. Yes, you have to be civil and try your best to be professional. But the moment you can get away, I do say don't be around that person, especially if they're purposely trying to provoke you or make you mad. No one should be subjected to that. I don't care what you do. You shouldn't have to be, no, you shouldn't have to be subjected to that emotional abuse because it is emotional abuse. Um, but I will say for my actors, you probably really I'm not saying for everybody, but you're probably really some strong people to do that, to do what you do. Got to be really strong to do that. Um, oh no, but moving before I move on to the next question, like I do want to mention this because this is scripture about continue to love your enemies, to do good to those hating you, blah blah blah. Yeah, but you shouldn't have to. Like I said, don't feel like you have to subject yourself to any kind of emotional abuse or any kind of disrespect unless you have to. And usually those moments when you feel like you have to is usually at work. It's usually at work, unfortunately. Because guess what? Some of your enemies may change and they could be friends. You might make a friend out of enemy, and some of your enemies might continue to get worse. So it doesn't always happen in a good thing. It's not always a good blessing. Not every time. Sorry. Um, and I'm speaking from experience. So that's the scripture that can apply to acting is to love your enemy. 11. How can what appears to be rejection or blocking really be a good thing? When I say rejection, let's say you go, okay, first of all, I'm sure we have had our experience of rejection in our personal life. Maybe a guy rejected you, or a woman rejected you, or your daddy rejected you, or your mama rejected you, or your sister rejected you, or your brother. Okay, I think you get the point. Maybe you've been rejected so many times to where all you know is rejection and you don't trust nobody, right? How could that be a good thing? Well, it could be you might feel that way when it comes to acting and going on auditions. You know, someone reject you or they don't want you for the role. What I would say, try your best not to take it personal because and and this is something I really think this is common sense because it's a job, right? It's not now if it is personal, like what I said, a man rejecting you, your daddy rejecting, that's personal. You take it personal because it's personal. Your mama rejecting you. And now if someone ever say don't take it personal and it's personal, they're retarded. Like when I say retarded, it's something mentally wrong with them. If you guys have a personal relationship and they're telling you not to take it personal, what? You sound stupid. What are you talking about? But if it's work related and it's work related, then you probably shouldn't take it personal and know whatever, like if you have an issue with someone, just know that's their own issue. If y'all not even friends, that's their own issue. Don't take it personal because it's like, you know what? I don't even know you like that. Whatever you got going on, I'm gonna pray for you, and maybe I won't pray for you because I just want to stay away from you. That's how I feel. That's one of the part of the scripture where it says pray for your enemy. I'm sorry, but some people I could pray for, and some people I'll pray that you stay away from me and that I can stay away from you. That's what I'll pray. I'll pray that I can stay away from you. That's what I'll pray for. That's really what I believe when it says pray for your enemies. Yeah, I'm going to pray that I stay far away from you so I don't do nothing to you or you don't do nothing to me. Stay away from me. And when I talk about auditions, don't take it personal. And that's like a regular job. When I say stay away from you, that's one of those jobs where you might not have to be around that person. You can go do your little work in your cubicle and go somewhere else. If someone's bothering you or they're just purposely trying to provoke you, just you don't have to be around that person. You don't have to, okay? But with the auditions, if someone rejects you in that way, just know that it probably really isn't personal. Maybe they are looking for a different character for that role that you're auditioning for, and they just don't believe it with you. They just don't see you as that character. Maybe they're like, okay, she's just too goody two shoes, trying to become this hardcore rock star. It's not believable. We found somebody else that just fits more better. It might not be personal at all. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way you should take every rejection from an audition. It's just to know that they're looking for a certain type of someone. And it might not be you. That don't mean that you can't act. You might be a great actor. You're just probably not a good fit for that role. You know what I mean? It's sorry y'all, it's hot. It's really hot up in here. It's like it's really hot, y'all. My bad. Sorry. Yeah, you might be a really great actor, but just know what you're good at. Are you good at playing sad moments and crying? Are you good at being one of those victim type of, oh, you hurt me? Are you good at that? Are you good at playing some monster and looking like a psychopath? Like, are you good at that? Like, really, you have to really think about. And I think this goes back to the choice of what Bonnie was stating, choices. Are you good at looking like you can be a superhero? Can you make that believable? Are you good at being a criminal? Like really looking like you are a shady, terrible criminal? Think about what you can be good at, because they're going to be judging you based off of whatever you're auditioning on. And they want to believe it. They want to be like, whoa. Ha. So don't take it personal. If they say we found someone else, just know, okay, I wasn't what they was looking for. That's the way I see it. I'll be like, okay, they already had something in their mind. It wasn't me. I'm just gonna find whoever want me. Let me keep looking for someone that want me for this, whatever. Last question. Why is it best to not accept any role when auditioning? Okay, you know what? Why is it best? You know, I used to have the mentality. I still sometimes I will say this, you got to start from somewhere, but I don't think the same way when I say it. Let me explain what I'm saying. I used to have the mentality like, hey, as long as you're doing something, it's better than nothing. But when it comes to acting, I don't think that's the best way to think. I think if you choose a role for a script and the movie might be really bad, I think it'll be a bad idea to be in that bad movie, because when people see the choices that you've made as far as like being in movies, and they see all of these movies are really horrible and bad, it could have been maybe the way the director directed it, maybe the music was bad, maybe the actors were bad, maybe the concept was bad, who knows what all factored into why the movie was bad as a whole, right? But the moment you decide to just accept anything, that could be the worst choice you ever make pertaining to acting, because now people are going to know you. They're going to know you as that actor that's in bad movies. Like, this is that, damn, that's that one actor that, oh, he in all the bad movies. I don't want to see that. Why I got to see that movie? It's going to be another bad movie. That's how they're going to judge you. They're going to feel like every time you promote a movie, it's going to be bad like all the other bad ones. So I don't want to encourage and say just take what you can get. Hey, that's better than nothing. Accept anything. No, I think sometimes doing nothing. I was gonna say sometimes doing nothing. I was trying to say nothing and something at the same time. Sometimes doing nothing is better than doing too much or doing something. Like, if you have no experience as an actor, when I say no experience, you're not in no movies, no shows, no commercials. You might be better off than someone in a whole bunch of terrible commercials and terrible movies. You might be better off, because at least you won't have that judgment from the casting directors, or you might not have that judgment from the audience saying, "Hey, this person, here they go with another bad movie again." So that's why I think it's best to not accept any role when auditioning, because people are going to judge you on it, and you might be a great actor in a horrible movie. You really think people are still going to want to see that movie and say, "Wow, he's really good," but the movie was bad, but he was really good? No. I mean, it's possible sometimes things can happen like that, because I'm not going to lie. There's times I've seen some of my favorite actors in some bad movies. Like, when I say movies, some movies that bored me so much to where I'm like, why did I see this movie? But it'll be an actor that I really like, and I'm like, why did they And that it happens with some good actors, but maybe they felt like it was good. But me, I have my specific taste to where some movies is just like not good. And then I might judge their past experience on the movies that they did before. And if I see some new movies that's way different and it's not what they're used to doing, and it's just like, what the hell? I might feel some kind of way about it, but maybe they might be trying to do something different. Um, but still, you got to be really careful about what role in what movie. So it's one thing to choose a role and a character or whatever, but research the movie, like read what the movie's about. Check out who wrote it, who wrote the script. Check out their past movies. Do your research and see, are you worth, do you think it's even worth being in it? And I think oftentimes when people just accept anything, it's probably because they don't know what their worth is. And that's probably why I used to have that mentality, like, well, anything, better than nothing, better accept something. But it's like, now I know my worth to where I'm like, hell no, don't just accept anything, because now people are going to judge you for it. So you got to aim at the stars. And when I say the stars, maybe I'm talking about the actors but when I'm saying shoot for the stars, you go at that level where you're trying to be. Don't think that you're ever too small to be at that level, because when you think small, the result is going to be small and it's not going to be good. So that's my thought on that last question. Um, I was going to say, well, anyways, change my mind. I'm not going to say that. Uh, so the tip of the day, and I probably briefly already, I believe I'm briefly mentioned this, but the tip of the day is, I once heard someone say this. I quote, study the great and you will become great. I believe it was Michael Jackson who stated this. I personally studied some great rappers to see how they do it simply by watching them or listening to their music, and of course by practicing and writing a lot helped as well. I became so confident at my craft that I began to believe in my mind and know that I was also capable of singing too. And eventually I became a good singer. And I mentioned this earlier, but um, all this had a lot to do with the people that I studied that came, you know, the people that I studied. And when I say maybe, if you like to learn lyrics, look up the lyrics and be like, check out different rhyme schemes of different rappers and see how they do it. It could be a singer too. Check how she's saying this note or how he's saying that note. And you will discover that, like I said before, there's a lot of acting involved in singing. It's a lot of acting. When you see yourself getting all emotional and you're like, you look like you're angry because you're trying to make a statement, or you're like really emotional and now your voice sounds like as if you're crying, but you're really singing. That's kind of acting in singing. But for those singers that don't sing really good or don't know how to use that emotion in the I'm sorry, don't know how to incorporate the emotion into the song. It might just be a regular song. Yeah, I know how you did me that day. You did me that day. You did me so wrong. What? You did me so wrong. I don't want to get along. Please don't do that. Because I didn't hear no emotion in that. It didn't sound good. I didn't believe it at all. So a lot of people, they're kind of like, worship these singers and stuff because they can believe them as if they're actors because they have so much emotion and it sounds good. So just remember that. Even if you're a singer, put more emotion. Think, if you're a singer, think about how well you can act and how much emotion you should put into your song. And just know doing that, you'll sound so much better. It'll sound so good after you do that. So, like I said, singing and acting kind of goes hand in hand in a way if you think about it. But that's my tip of the day. Study the great and you will become the great. And just know that I've been studying Michael Jackson and Eminem. Those two right there, Michael and Eminem. I studied a lot of other rappers like Jay-Z and stuff, but Eminem was the one that I felt like was like the best. Like, so if you want to be the best, study the people that you think are the best. Michael and Eminem. Those are the best to me. And so if you try to put that together, now you might become even greater than them. Not saying that you really are, like, who really can become better than Eminem. I'm sorry. I, even as much as I feel like I've mastered the art of rapping, and I probably joked about this times in the past, and maybe I was, who knows what the heck I was thinking, but I don't even feel like I'm better than Eminem. Like, I can't even, I wouldn't even say that. However, I do feel like I'm on the same level as him, but not better. Because he mastered, I think Eminem mastered rapping so well to where there should be this own category of rap just called Eminem rap. Like you got your hip hop rap, your rap, your trap rap, your old school rap, new school rap, and then you got one column that Eminem rap. That's just only for him because it's that damn good. So, anywho, yes. So just remember that. You want to be good? Who is good to you? Who is good? Great, great. Because you might be good, but you wanna be great. Anyways, it's hot, y'all. I think I talked a lot today. We got just about another 3 hour movie going on today. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just go with the flow. I don't want to put pressure on myself and say, hey, I don't want it to be this long. Whatever, it is what it is. Because some days it might be an hour and 30 minutes. It might just be 50 minutes. But if it gets this long, just know it's because I've had so much to say. And it is what it is. All right. I do want to say that next week, what am I going to be talking about next week? Let's see, because I want to remember what I put down. What am I going to be talking about? I'm going to talk about. uh, um, you know what? I think I'm still trying to figure that out because I did make some notes, but I'm still working on exactly what I'm gonna be talking about next week. So y'all gonna see. Y'all gonna see. And I mean, one of these days I would like to like do a live video with a specific time so you know what time to expect. I think that'll be better, it's probably more professional and it helps. But just know that I'm really trying to I'm still feel like I'm balancing this out. Still just making sure I do it every week. So it might be at different times when you see this live video. But I'm still trying to figure out a good time to do it because I work late at night. So trying to go live late at night on Mondays is not a good idea. But anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed episode, or should I say movie? It's almost 3 hours. I hope y'all enjoyed this movie. But until next time, just remember what I said. Love your enemy if you can. Love your enemy or stay away from them. But when it comes to acting, guess what? You have no choice but to love them. Sorry, you gotta love them. All right, y'all enjoy your hot day. I know it's got to be hot out there for y'all. All right. Why am I'm just like really weird when it comes to ending. I'll be trying to figure out, do I say bye? Do I say have a good day? Like, all right, y'all. Bye. I'm just weird.